Hi there. Welcome to the ABC workshop for another review video. I'm Sophia Jacob, an artist and an art productivity coach, and I help artists create daily, find their unique style, and to monetize their art without any confusion or burnout. In today's video, I would be reviewing a product that many of you have asked me about, and that's the Camel Artist Gouache colors. Now, for those of you who have been using Camel products for a while, you would have noticed that this is a relatively new addition in their product line. While Camel launched the gouache colors in 2024, it was only by the beginning of 2025 that they actually started promoting this product. So a relatively newer product in their lineup and something that I'm sure all gouache artists are eager to know about and something that I'm really excited to review today. Let's start with the packaging. Now I ordered the set from Amazon and honestly I wasn't too happy with how it arrived. The box was damaged and the tubes had popped out of their slots, jostling around during shipping. The thick paper box took a beating, but with a bit of tape, it'll still work out fine for storage. Design-wise, the box looks clean and minimal, very much in line with Camel's updated branding. You'll notice the new Camel logo on top and the word artist in gold italics, which clearly positions this as a professional grade set. The set I have here comes with 24 shades in 9 ml tubes plus 2 artist brushes. Now the MRP is Rs 890, but I managed to get it on discount from Amazon. I'll drop the link in the description box below. Just so you know, it is an affiliate link, so if you use it, I'll earn a small commission at no extra cost to you, and it really helps me bringing you honest, unbiased reviews. When you flip the box over, you'll see a swatch card of all the included shades. Of course, these are just printed samples, so they don't exactly match with how the colors look in real life. And that's why later in this video, I'll do a swatch test on paper so you can see the actual results. The box also mentions that these paints are opaque with soft matte finish and can be used on paper, canvas, or board. They're also compatible with other mediums like markers, acrylic, inks, and watercolors. So if you enjoy mixed media, this is a big plus. Inside the box, the paints come in sturdy plastic tray along with 2 synthetic brushes, a number 4 flat brush and a number 4 round brush. Interestingly, even though the tray has proper slots, some tubes still came loose in transit, which I think is quite surprising. Now let's take a closer look at the tubes. Camel has included a lot of useful information here. For example, this titanium white is shade number 423. You'll see it marked as PW6, which means pigment white 6, which is titanium white. If it had said PW4, that would have meant zinc white, which is a more transparent variant. The black square symbol tells us that it's highly opaque. Series 1 indicates good quality pigment, and the permanence rating A means it has strong permanence. Here's another one, Crimson Lake, shade 063. This one is made of 2 pigments, PR8 and PR12. It falls under Series 2, which means the pigment quality is slightly lower than Series 1. And the open square symbol shows that this shade is more transparent. The permanence rating here is B, so it's moderately permanent. I really appreciate that Camel has added all these details directly onto the tube. As an artist, it gives you the confidence about what you're working with, and it makes a big difference in the final result of your artwork. Now let's move on to do a swatch test to put these paints to test. For the swatch test, I'm using 300 GSM cold press paper. I've sketched out 24 boxes, one for each shade, and labeled them with the shade number along with the transparency rating indicated on the tubes. I've also added thick black lines with a permanent marker to check whether the transparency matches. The paints look rich in pigment as I squeeze them out, but several of them are extremely watery. This isn't unusual for freshly opened gouache or watercolor tubes. Often you'll find high binder water content that keeps the paint moist and increases their longevity. The paints feel smooth as I pick them up with the brush and apply them to the paper. There is enough binder water mixture from the tube that I don't really need to add any additional water to achieve the desired consistency. However, in some colors, the watery mixture outweighs the pigment content, which makes the application a bit thin. In an actual painting scenario, you might need to squeeze out a little more paint to balance this out, or simply apply a second layer. Looking at the swatch card, a few paints appear inconsistent with the reference given on the tube. For example, lemon yellow, which is marked as fully transparent, looks semi-transparent on paper. The same is true for Crimson Lake and Permanent Rose. Similarly, shades like Portrait Pink, Permanent Blue Light, Sap Green, and Yellow Ochre, which are labeled as fully opaque, also shows up as semi-transparent. Apart from these exceptions, the rest of the shades are fairly consistent with their tube labels. Overall, the color range is good and comparable to what you will find in any standard assorted paint set. Do note, however, that these 24 shades are the only ones available in the Camel Gouache range. If you run out of a single tube, you'll need to purchase the entire set again, as they're not sold individually. It would have been helpful if at least titanium white were available as a loose tube, the way Brewster offers, since white is often the most used shade in a gouache painting. Alright, now let's move on to a demo to see how these paints perform in an actual painting. Before we dive in, a quick heads up. I've put together a free guide for you called 10 Mistakes to Avoid While Buying Art Supplies. The link is in the description box below, so definitely grab it after you've done watching this video. For the demo, I'm again using a 300 GSM cold press paper. I have secured the paper on an acrylic sheet with a masking tape to give me clean edges, and as you can see, I have loosely sketched out a koi pond. So let's begin. I first block out large areas with flat washes of color, focusing only on coverage and not on the details. Typically in a gouache painting, you work from dark to light, so I begin by adding the mid-tones and darker values first. Once the base layer are dry, I use a smaller brush for fine lines, textures and accents. I also use the dry brush technique to create texture on the rocks. And finally, I add highlights using white or tinted light colors. I have to say I really enjoyed the experience of trying out the Camel Gouache paints. Right from the start, the paints felt creamy and smooth, which made them really pleasant to work with. They re-wet easily on the palette, so even after drying a bit, all I needed to do was a touch of water to get them moving again. On paper, they blended beautifully, allowing me to get both soft gradients and clean flat fills without much effort. The colors are vibrant straight out of the tube and dry to that lovely matte finish that gouache is known for. I especially liked how even the brighter shades maintained their richness without looking too chalky once dry. One of the things I appreciated most was the opacity and consistency of the paint. Even with a single layer, I could get solid coverage with most colors, and when I layered on top, the paint did not disturb or lift the layers underneath too much, which is a common issue with some gouache brands. The titanium white worked perfectly for adding highlights at the final stages, making details pop and balancing the overall painting. So to wrap it all up, my first impression about the Camel Artist Gouache colors is definitely positive. Paints are creamy, re-wet well, and give you that beautiful matte finish that gouache lovers appreciate. While there are few quirks, like some shades being more watery straight from the tube and the transparency labels not always matching perfectly, the overall performance for the price point is solid. For the beginners, this set is a great and affordable way to explore gouache painting. And for more experienced artists, it's a reliable option for sketchbook work, practice, or even finished pieces if you enjoy the color range. I just wish Camel would start selling individual tubes, especially the titanium white, since this is the paint that we run out of most frequently. If you've tried these paints, I would love to hear about your experience in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video from the ABC workshop. If you enjoyed this video, do click the like button and do subscribe to my channel to watch an art supply review every Wednesday.